Hey, what is up, everybody? Scott Newby here from Living It with Scott and Cat podcast and from Friday Night AV. Special thanks to the people that hung out with me this morning. I got on super early, didn't make any announcements. We've been having some slight technical errors, and so I just hopped on this morning just to see if people could see us broadcasting or get notifications. And we've been seeing that people have been like, hey, man, you guys are going live. We're not getting any our notifications. We don't know when you guys are going. We wanted to ask questions. So a few people chimed in on that chat and actually wrote me a message that's kind of how it's been with all their channels lately, that for some reason they're not always getting their notifications. So if you guys haven't been getting notified about us going live, I certainly apologize about that. I try to put everything out, days, sometimes even weeks in advance for the people that want to come hang out with us. So I guess that is a YouTube problem from everything that I have been reading. It's not a StreamYard problem. So if you didn't get a notification for this video or for our next video or for our last video, I've certainly checked in everything. So I apologize for that. So as you see, I'm down here by myself today, and I'm not in our usual podcast studio. Kat had no interest in sitting in this room with me today for this. She will be in this hot seat next Friday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. She is from a remote location, texting you guys back. So if you guys are getting a response, I got my laptop off to the side so I can try to answer any questions, but I'm not going to sit here and type back while I'm trying to talk to you guys. So any responses that you guys are getting through the text is certainly from Kat, so I appreciate her giving me a hand with this. Yeah, she's hiding upstairs. So the reason why this is at 11 a.m. on a Saturday instead of Friday night at 9 p.m. Is because at the end of this video, I'm going to come on here, going to go over some questions that I've gotten asked and even like debunk a couple of myths. But is at the very end of this, I'm going to crank the stereo up. We'll do a live reading. And that is something I would not want to do at 9:30 or 10 o'clock to my neighbors. Fingers crossed, we have been actually very lucky. Our loudest stereo system is in the basement of our house. I am pretty respectful about the hours that we do play it, and I don't go very crazy very often. So at this house location for the last few years, we haven't had any issues. We did have the cops called at our previous home, but neighbors been cool. So certainly trying to respect them. So that's kind of why we're doing this at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning instead of 9 p.m. on a Friday night. So, but next Friday night, that's pretty much why we're doing it at 7 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. Is because when Kat's sitting in this seat, and we hit her a couple weeks ago, but she wouldn't allow me to play the other speakers, and I had to watch what Hertz song we chose. So we're doing baby steps with her. We're gonna choose another song with lower Hertz. The lower the Hertz we go, the more anxious or like nauseous feeling she gets. So we're pretty much just going to step her through month by month until we get her to throw up. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. Another reason why I'm doing this video is just obviously I get a lot of questions from the community. We get a lot of people that come through this room. I was figuring out the other day, approximately about 100 people a year come through our house, which is, that's quite a few people. Our big event every year, Base brings us together. Like this year, we got 60 people already, penciled in. That event is closed for anybody else that wanted to come to that, unfortunately. Last year was 50, then 40. So 60, I just had 4 people over last weekend. Next weekend, 2 people are coming over. And usually once a month or once every other month, I do have other people that fly in or drive in or want to come experience something. And it's not all just about the high SPL stuff. People just want to check out subwoofers or an Atmos setup or just experience some deep bass stuff. So it's a very niche crowd for the extreme output stuff, but that's what today's episode is about, is just how I'm set up to measure that. So this is a full JTR system. The bed layer speakers, subwoofers are all JTR, and then I do have Klipsch in ceiling 8-inch pros for Atmos. So it is a hybrid system right now of 90% JTR and then 10% Klipsch, which at some point will get turned over to JTR as well. So we will hop right into it. First of all, I'll just say hi to everybody that's in the chat. Kat, I see you in the chat. Thank you, honey. Brian, what is up, brother? Thanks for joining us. Ace of Base, let's go. He's coming in on May 11th. He's got like shit, man, what do you got? Like a 10-hour drive, I think. So yeah, he's got a 10-hour drive. He's gonna come in the day before, kind of hang out with everybody, be here for the event. maybe do some filming for his channel, some content. Actually, him and Don Dunn are going to be doing a podcast on Friday Night AV here in a couple of weeks. I'll get the details to you guys as soon as I get a little bit of that ironed out. And then, so thanks everybody for stopping by. Going to take up maybe about 20-30 minutes of your day. You know, you guys hang out. I'm sure there's other stuff to do on a Saturday. Actually, to the guys that I'm missing out on the home theater tour today, my Wisconsin buddies and Illinois buddies, you guys have a blast today. I had this scheduled, and then I am tied up this afternoon, so unfortunately I couldn't attend that. So for you guys checking this out, I certainly appreciate that. So this is the High SPL Setup and Testing. I get a lot of questions just because I believe there's a lot of confusion or a lot of gray area in how this even comes about or how it's accurately done. So I'm just going to kind of go over that, and I'm actually going to cut some of this video and send it to the Guinness Book of World Records. That'll probably be the end to kind of show that I'm serious about the entry that I made to them for holding the loudest home theater or Atmos home theater. So it's not going to be the loudest in-house speaker setup, because there, if you look, there are people that literally built a huge speaker in their basement and you just go sit on like a folding chair in it and you just listen to loud music. I'm not hating. I'd love to enjoy that. I get into extreme, outlandish kind of crazy stuff, so I would certainly have a good time with that. But my entry was just for loudest home theater. So not saying I am the absolute loudest. It's just some kind of fun I'm having with myself, with the hobby, with other guys in the hobby. And so it is what it is. But I'll cut and piece probably the very ending of this and kind of email that to them. They've already recognized that they got my entry and that somebody would be reaching out to me in the coming months. But I'm going to kind of forward them that video too, to be like, hey, I'm not joking around. This is something I'm doing seriously, and we'll see what they have to say. So it is February 3rd for people kind of keeping track of the episodes that we have going on. I don't know if this is an actual episode, but it's, I don't know. It's trying to make good content, trying to answer questions from the community, trying to bring everybody together, you know, every now and again for a half hour, an hour. So I'm going to just start this off because it's funny, the people that have obviously came here and experienced it, or the people that know a lot about the hobby, they kind of have an idea what's going on, but there are people that on the outside that don't believe or think for some reason that I'm lying, either for my like self gain of like because I'm doing a YouTube channel now, or that it's like a self gain for JTR speakers or something, or that there's something for me to gain for lying to the community. Which I've been part of this community. I mean, literally my whole life, I wouldn't, you know, debunk my name over some silly numbers, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. I'm not in like a competition and we're not competing. It's just something that I built up the way that I enjoy the hobby. I use my hands a lot. So I don't know, maybe I should join the circus or something. So anyway, so I just wanted to kind of just go through a few of those things. Now, a lot of the comments that I get, because I do post on like some car audio forums and stuff, and you know, I post kind of everywhere. You guys see this stuff. So we won't even I'm stupid or I got an issue or something like. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I none of those, actually those kind of comments don't bother me. I could care less. I work on construction job sites all the time. That's the way we talk to each other. So it's just for the people like, oh, he's lying to the home theater community. He has no idea what he's doing. He has no idea what's going on. So that's kind of why I'm just, for the people that are able to make it to any of the events that Kat and I host, then it's a lot easier. You get to experience it, and then, you know, it makes a lot of sense. But for the people that can't make it just due to like actual physical distance, or, you know, commitments with family and work, or, you know, it does, at the end of the day, it does cost money. I know firsthand, driving to places, to audio shows, getting hotels, doing that kind of stuff costs money. Everything nowadays is super stupid expensive. So for the people that just financially doesn't make any sense to come out here and hang out for a day, no matter how much they want to. So that's kind of what this video is for, just to kind of show how all this comes about. One bad thing about doing this live is obviously I can make some kind of mistake, but I wanted to do it live. Like I do, we pretty much do everything. I do some other videos of like if I'm talking about something else that ain't so critical, but doing it live, then, you know, people can't accuse you of like, oh, you're copying, pasting, editing. Believe me, if you follow this channel, I'm not doing any kind of copy, pasting, editing. I've said this a million times. This is the burned up, rusted out El Camino of YouTube channels, because literally if I get 15 free minutes, I'm hopping on with you guys and I'm hopping off, getting back to doing what I got to do. So once again, so I just took like the top 5, like the most like hated, or not hated, just like the critiques or something, I guess we'll call them. So I made a little list. I don't know who wrote this list, terrible penmanship, but that was I. So started out, 130 dB is almost impossible in a theater room. I know, I have multiple 15s in mind. It's taking years and lots of money, and I don't know. I think this guy said he had 8 or 12 15s in a room, and I'm now just getting to the mid 130s. I don't think this guy has any idea what it takes. I understand he has a lot of 18-inch subs, but to get from 130 to 140, it's an astronomical amount. And then to 150, this guy must be living on another planet. I'm not against to living on another planet. I mean, I'm all for a road trip, but so at the end of this, like I said, we will do some, like I'll play a song, live testing, and I understand that 130 dB is, I mean, 130 dB is plenty. I mean, it's 130 dB is stupid loud. So for this guy Ryan that wrote me this, and it better not be Ryan from Ascend AV, but as I get that, and I get that the move from 130 to like 132 or 133, and like from 133 to 136 means like doubling drivers and quadrupling power amplifier, depending on what kind of numbers we're talking about. I understand that. I went through this whole process. Literally, this system has been multiple years in the making, and testing and tuning and placement. Everything that's where I'm at right now, it certainly wasn't on an accident. This has all been very well calculated, and I'm not done, but this is where we're at right now. So that will get addressed at the end. But I agree with you that 130 is very loud, yes, but it is not impossible in the room. There's multiple people doing that, and there's a lot of people that ain't even interested in doing it. This isn't so much about what you should listen to or what you should enjoy. I would never argue the fact of how someone should enjoy their hobby. I'm just saying, for the guys that are trying to get ridiculous numbers in their room for impact, or for, just sheer violence of their system, that it is possible. 130s are certainly possible. 140s, 150s are possible as well too. So the second one, meters are, and this is actually a good point that this guy brought up. So I don't even think that this was hate. I just think, so anyway, meters are extremely inaccurate, especially at high SPL. Yes, home theater meters, calibrated home theater meters that are made for testing, such as like the U-mic and stuff, they are very, very accurate, but only to a certain dB. None of the dBs like we're talking about today. And, they're specific, they do really well, say from 10, 15, 20 hertz and up. And that's exactly what they're built for. And in a home theater setting, that is perfect for dialing in your system, calibrating, tying everything together to work perfectly. My whole system, I tuned off of a U-mic in room. Okay. So I'm not discrediting this, but any of my high SPL testing is not done with a U-mic. Even microphones like this, I don't know, this is like a $40 or $50 microphone. Good microphone, accurate, unless you push it too loud or you push it too low. Because like this guy said, you can max out a mic like this at 130 dB if you're only pushing 120 dB, just because they are very inaccurate at the most extreme levels. So a microphone is good like this is for testing, to make sure that all your speakers are set at the right levels, the same levels, correct levels. I'm not saying what this guy is saying is wrong, because I use these microphones as well, but they are not, like he says, they are very inaccurate, especially at high volumes. Yes, so this guy actually was proving a very good point, and I'm just bringing that up, that many of my testing isn't done off like a phone app or a U-mic, or one of those like $40 to $100 mics that you can buy off Amazon or somewhere else. I had to get a special microphone, and it isn't even really like a microphone. It's an actual SPL testing device. So when I took this journey into a more extreme level, which I've always planned on building a system like this, it's just taken a lot of time, a lot of money. is I reached out to the car community, which I used to be a lot bigger in when I was younger, not so much anymore. And I said, hey, I know a lot of guys with crazy systems. I always had a system in my car, but never a silly, crazy system. So I reached out to some guys. I'm like, hey, I need something in my room to test high dB, and that is very accurate. So SPL Lab, Term Lab was a general consensus. So obviously I looked them up, and they are well known. Actually you can see in this video, stage left, stage right, whatever. Right here at the tip of my finger, that is a SPL Lab mini bass meter. Yeah, you'll get a better picture when I pick the camera up and I set it there. So that was, I think they're like 250 or 260 bucks. Now, the reason why I went with this meter, I wanted a different meter that I've used of theirs, but the problem so this meter is very accurate with, it's guaranteed to be 0.1 dB accuracy. So it's extremely, extremely accurate. This meter covers from 20 hertz to 120 hertz. So it literally only covers bass frequencies. The model up, which I've used before because a buddy of mine owns, I think is like $400 or $500, and I really love that model because it measures accurately down to 10 hertz. Now the issue I have with that, because this is an entertaining space and we get a lot of people over here, is you only get the probe and then you have to run it off to a laptop. So to see any of those results, you have to have a laptop open and showing. It's very hard if you get 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 people in here. So this meter is good. You'll see when I plug it in, it's got just a display on the front. So whatever is playing, it displays. So it is accurate. This meter goes, to levels that I would never go. I think this meter is good to 160 dB. So I knew it was accurate to 160. It would do 20 to 120 hertz within 0.1 dB. So I didn't have to worry about an accuracy reading. So that's why I went with this meter. It was substantially more expensive, and it's actually a complete waste of money because you can't use it for tuning. You can't use it for that's where like the U mic and all that comes in, because those handle all the frequencies and at lower volumes. This meter actually doesn't even start reading to 120 dB. So when I fire it up, they have a couple different settings, which we'll use setting number 2, which is it will hold maximum voltage, which it usually is like from 120 to 122 or whatever, because it'll plug into the USB on my seat for electric power. So when I first plug that meter in, you will see it come up at it'll probably say low at first, and then it'll go to like 120 or 122, and that's just going to be a voltage reading. And then as I play the song, you'll see it jump up, and then that'll be the SPL, and it's set to hold max voltage and max SPL. So I'm just explaining this to you guys because here in a couple minutes when we fire this up, that's what happens. I'll plug it in. It'll read low for probably a second usually, and then it'll just jump to 120 to 122 or whatever. And it'll just hold it there, even with just me talking or no music playing, because it's just showing you what it is received for maximum voltage. And when people plugged it into their DC systems in their car, that lets them know what voltage. I'm not worried about the voltage to this in my house, because it's just running off typical 110, 120. And it ain't telling you what the voltage is in the room. All the subwoofers in here run off 220 anyway. It's a completely, separate oddity or whatever. Here I am making up words. So anyway, so that's how the meter works. When we start playing the music and you see the number jumped up, it is holding peak SPL numbers. So that is how that works. So here's number 3. So he is measuring from his port, or he's measuring from his car and taking a picture and showing it to everybody. How can everybody be so dumb? It's strange that I would do that when there's multiple people here. I've had other people share videos of live readings, or them share pictures of the meter that they've took. I would never say, hey guys, I'm going to crank it up. Just let me move this meter into the port of my sub. Or I literally gain nothing that if I was to have a buddy come over with a loud stereo, put it in his car, take a picture and show it to you guys, because if I never had anybody over at my house and I never had anybody come over and watch movies or come for demos, then that would probably be very easy to be like, oh, because there's nobody, hey, I hit 160 dB in here and nobody can say any different. So yeah, there is no smoke and mirrors. It was me. I pretty much have brought a lot of people through this journey with me as I'm building this system up, and it's just been more so the last couple of years as I've been holding big events, and now even more so that we're publicizing some of this on YouTube as we're working my way through this. So no, I don't measure from the ports. I don't measure from a car and take a picture. I'm not trying to impress you or mislead you, or that would all seem very silly for everything I got going on in here. Where this is at right now, back with my finger, this is roughly like 18 inches away from my head. Now that is not ideal for me. I just recently mounted this meter here, and it's mounted here for a couple of reasons. The main reason is because literally the meter used to go where my head's at. Well, you can see the problems that poses when people come over here. The reason why I mounted the meter where my head was at is because that is the loudest that it is here, because I have multiple 18s literally 15 inches away from my head. These seats are pretty much backed up as close as they can be to where they can still fully recline, so it doesn't obstruct any use of the theater for actual movie viewing or anything. I get my loudest readings when the meter is right here at the headset or at the headrest. So by moving it back here, I have lost some output. People understand that obviously if it was closer to the front of the drivers that it would be louder, but it's so much, so it's extreme Velcroed to that. And now the back of these meters all have suction cups because they're made to be suction cup to like kick panels in a car or to a windshield, because I have a lot of car audio guys that I'm friends with that have came through here, and they're like, dude, you should mount that meter like in a front corner, like at the ceiling or at the bottom or at a back corner. You probably get a lot higher readings. And I understand coming from the car world, that's how they measure. They don't measure from the actual headrest. They measure like off the windshield or something like that. And I was like, well, when people come over and say, hey, you're going to experience 145 dB, you just got to go stick your head up in that corner to experience it. That to me, that felt misleading for what I had going on here. So the closer I can keep it to the actual headrest, then people know that is what they're actually experiencing. By moving it back here, I did roughly lose about half of a dB, and people are like, oh, well, that's only half a dB. I'll tell you what I wouldn't do for half a dB, man. Every dB, every half a dB, it at this level, man, it's insanity. So it's easy though. I ran a power cord through the seat. I literally just plug it in, it powers up, that meter stays right there. I screwed the suction cups to a piece of 2x4. I put extreme Velcro outdoor weather stripping on the bottom, stuck it to the top of the speaker, and so it's like a permanent. And the reason why I mounted it here is because you can see it between two people's heads. So like if somebody's coming over when they want to do video, usually 2 or 4 people come, so you can see the meter between their two heads, and it just makes a little bit more sense. Now, if Guinness book sends like a adjudicator out here or something like that, you can bet your ass that meter will be right here where my head's at, because we are certainly just going for absolute maximum output. Now, the room's actual highest level output that I've ever put out in this room has been 150.7 dB. I know that is the most extreme output. I did that when Jeff Permanian from JTR was actually here, when Mark Seaton from Seaton Sound was here. You could definitely tell that the system was at its complete max. That's all I had. So then in the DSPs in that, did a compression limiter, and I backed everything off. I can't remember for the life of me and I was talking to the guys about that this morning, if I backed it off 2 or 2.5 dB. And like I was talking with Jeff from JTR and Seaton Sound, and you'll even see Mark Seaton in one of the videos that Youthman did here, that I was like, yeah, right now that limiter is at like 2 or 2.5 dB. He's like, yeah, that's perfect practice. Because at no point, especially for a YouTube video or someone that comes over here for a demo, am I blowing an amplifier or a speaker. I use the system as much as I can. I try not to break anything. I don't mind pushing stuff to its limits. That's what the stuff is built for. But by having a 2 dB, knowing that I have a little bit of safety zone there, I can beat on the system pretty much all I want. During our biggest get-togethers, like base that brings us together, you can ask the 300 people that have been here. This system in this room plays all day at reference with the subs 14 dB hot. And then about every half hour, we do 145 to 150 dB demos. And this system plays like that nonstop for 10 hours straight. I've never, now that I'm going live, that's when a driver will fly out of the box and hit me in the head. But literally every year we've done that for 10 hours straight, I've never had one hiccup or one issue with anything. So I think that I'm in a very safe zone with that 2 dB. Now, if Guinness Book does come out here, sends adjudicator, or wants a live video, Zoom call, whatever they want to do, then I will obviously remove any kind of limiter or compression thing, put it right where my head's at. And if I blow a driver, if I blew something up, then that's fine. Then I don't care, because I'm going. Then to me, then it's actually worth it. But I'm not doing it for a YouTube video. I'm not doing it for the people that come over here and people that have seen the meter. They're, you know, and before I had it there, we would set it here, and then like they're like, oh, I want to sit down and like hold the meter here or something. Where the meter's at is perfect. So when we do this test here in a couple minutes, and we just had people over here last weekend. Depending on what song you play, and I'm going to say what song I'm playing today, and we're not going to play the other speakers today for 2 reasons. One is to debunk the guy that it doesn't even matter because the meter only reached 20 hertz to 120 hertz. He says, you know, because you have all your 11 speakers playing as well. So we're going to have all the other speakers off. And also because I'm tired of getting hit with copyright stuff. I literally look up songs that I don't see any copyright stuff for, and then I play them, and then I get a copyright. I don't know if it's a warning or a strike, but I certainly get something negative back to me on certain music that I play. So when I play this, it's going to sound like garbage anyway. The mics are going to be clipping like crazy. Promise you, you can ask anybody that's been here, or if you're coming here, you're going to see it's not all distorted sound, and the mic is obviously going to be clipping like crazy. We're going to be well past its realm of understanding what the heck's going on. So last thing is we only see screenshots or hear people's stories. Everybody has a story, bro. I understand that. Everybody's uncle has a faster race car. You know what I mean? Something like that. Everybody has an aunt that has millions. Okay, I get that. That's why we're doing this video live. No editing, no nothing, not me showing you a picture or me drawing you something out in crayon and be like, oh, look at this. So we're just pushing a half hour now. Like I told you guys, I'd take up about a half hour, 40 minutes of your time. So that's pretty much what's going on here. When I fire this up, we should see a reading somewhere around like 147, maybe 148. That should be where it reads from there. That's where I've been reading when people come over. I do have 2 dB limiter built in, and it's not right where my head is, which literally there's if you've seen the pictures behind I'm sitting on top of 8 18s, and this whole room is full of 16 18s, and all 16 of them see 3,000 watts apiece. So having that meter back there, not in front of any of them, isn't doing me any favors. This is just how you experience. For the people that can't come over here or can't come to the get-togethers, this is kind of the experience where we're at right now. Let me see if I have anything else. Let me say hi to everybody. Ace of Base, I think it's awesome. Hey, thanks, brother. I certainly appreciate the support. Oprah Winfrey, tell him come for a listening demo. I invite everybody. You know, if you're cool and just want to come hang out, even if you have doubts, even if you tell me, say, hey, I don't believe you're doing 10 hertz in your room or 7 hertz. I don't believe you're doing high SPL like that, like you say in your room. I get, like, you know, because there's a lot of people just full of crap. So I'm like, hey, man, if you're ever around the Chicago area, I'm an hour south, give me a couple weeks heads up so I can make sure that I got a night where I got the house somewhat, you know, where I can go crazy for a little bit. We'll hang out for an hour or so, check out some movie clips, check out some music, and then, you know, you can just check it out for yourself. So I certainly, Ace of Base says I'm a baby at 115. Hey, man, 115 is loud too. Most of the time I'm listening to music like in the 80s. I'd be 100%, 300% completely deaf right now. My ears wouldn't even be on my head anymore if I did this very often. Brian, how much difference in accuracy from that handheld mic as opposed to what you have now, the more expensive mic? This mic, no accuracy at 130 dB. The meter behind me, I can get to read at like the very accurate meter. I can get that to read at like 100 20 dB, 122, like where it doesn't even start reading to 120 dB. And I turn this on and it's already maxed out at 130. So I believe, I think people have done reviews on this mic. This is the SPL 8810. It is a good microphone, but I believe it loses a lot of its accuracy after like 110 dB. By how much percentage, I don't know. I don't have the testing equipment to find it out, but I was worried about how well it did go against, say, something like this. Like, is it accurate to 130? And it certainly wasn't. When this meter reads 120 or 122, this meter's already maxed out. So yeah. All right. And that is that does A and C weight, if you were curious. Let me see. All right. Tape it to your forehead. Yeah, man, just have everybody tape one to their forehead, and then they'll take it home with them and forget about it, right? Jared, what's up, brother? All right. So now that everybody's here or watching, checking, hanging out, making this video. So let me get a drink. And then what if I was just like, bam, and shut everything off? Be like, you guys ain't going to see today. You guys be like, man, I just wasted 30 minutes watching this guy. I told you he was full of crap. All right. I try to be as prepared as possible. So now you'll see I will plug that SPL meter in. It just plugs into the seat holder. You just see it just read low. Now it just came up a number, which should be whatever highest voltage it has read. So now it's trying to decide. It's reading the voltage, but we will change that. So we are going to program 2, which will be peak. Oh, sorry. Low voltage. Okay. So that's so everything's, that button I just hit here is reset. The last song that we did was at like 36 hertz. It rang like 146 dB or whatever. But that was from the last people over because they were bringing their own kind of music that they wanted to play. Sorry, so you guys can see here. So right now we're at 120.7. Can you guys see that? Is that good? So that's at 120.7. Now that is just reading the maximum voltage it is seeing. It's in program 2, and program 2 on this meter, the SPL Lab mini base meter, program 2 holds your highest voltage, which it's plugged into one of my seat USB, so it's highest voltage it's seen so far is 120.7. We'll start the song, and as you see that number jump up, it'll be holding the highest dB reading. So hopefully you guys can see that good. It looks backwards on the screen, but that is 120.7. That ain't 150. I don't know why it reads backwards like that. So that's 120.7. Well, let me fire up a song. No other speakers are on, just the subs. But it really looks like a 5. What if we turn it upside down? Yeah. So that reads like that because it's backwards. Okay, well, whatever. All right. My anxiety is all the way upstairs. Oh, yeah, Kat's sitting upstairs writing back to you guys, and she's got anxiety. Okay, so this is the meter. It's approximately about 18 inches away from your head. It's not in front of the drivers anymore, unfortunately. So anyway, we're going to start the song. Oh, hold on, everybody. It knocked the damn thing out of my hand. Oh. Hold on one second, guys. Oh. Sorry about the delay. Oh, man. Oh, I didn't knock my Atmos speaker grills off. Oh, she said it is a 2. It looked like a... So I lost signal to everything, which I don't know how. What the hell? Man, I told you guys. The highest reading I seen it get to was a 146, but we weren't done. Now it's saying no music is queued. What the heck is going on here? Oh, man. Now everybody's going to say something. Hold on a second. So as you see, for some reason, still got my RTJ system online, but it took my JTR system offline. And I don't know why. Well, that was quite interesting. Well, now, like I said, of course, if you're going to have a technical error, you're going to have one on while you're on live. For some reason, I lost power to my node, which is where I was streaming my music, and we were getting to the loudest part of the song. And the last recording we got was a 146.4 when it should have been around. I mean, we should get up to 147, 148. I lost. I swear I'm not doing this to build up time. Well, guys, I'm going to try to get this figured out. I'll be back on live as soon as I can. For some reason, I have lost power to the node. And like I said, as you guys can see, I have 2 node players. One of them is not on here. This one just says RTJ. That is for the node. I can't read shit on there, actually. That's for the RTJ system upstairs. Cat pulled the plug. No, unfortunately, it's all dedicated wiring in this room. So, all right, guys. I'm going to hop off here, and I'll hop back on as soon as I get figured out. I don't know. We literally just did 4 demos back to back last weekend with no issues. So I'll be back on live, guys. All right. Peace out.